Hello there, y'all. I'm Rain, and this is Fennec Fables, where we delve into fun things about tabletop role-playing games, including prompts, ideas, stories, and even systems. With it being a new year, I think the idea of starting up new games with new faces is high up on everyone's to-do list, especially with how many amazing new game systems are coming out or have come out. And don't worry, I'll be getting into discussing games again soon. That said, I know it's hard for some folks to even get started. That's why I'll be going over some popular ways to find groups as well as how to make sure everyone's on the same page with some suggestions I have for starting off on the right foot. With that little intro handled, if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, it really does help me out more than you could ever know, and be sure to stay till the end to see something cute. But let's get into it. Starting off, it's good to consider the type of gaming experience you're hoping to have. Not talking systems just yet, but instead, if you're looking to play in an in-person game or online. For those looking to play in person, there are still quite a few options out there. The first classic and most obvious option is reaching out to your existing friends. For those lucky enough to already have folks that enjoy playing TTRPGs in their social circle, or have at least voiced an interest in playing, it shouldn't be too hard to open up on the subject. Just going, "Hey guys, I've got this new game and I'm dying to try it out. Would you like to play it with me?" Can be enough for those already interested after all. There are some groups that are more focused on specific systems, but here's hoping that either that's the game you're interested in playing or that your friends are willing to try a foray into something new. If instead it's friends that haven't played a TTRPG before, my best recommendation is to make some comparisons to media that is in a similar tone or theme to the game you're hoping to play and entices them into the chance to play, to explore and engage with fantastical worlds. If you know your buddies already like Destiny or Titanfall, for example, suggesting that there's a game system called Lancer where you get to play pilot mechs and go into brutal brawls could be quite the draw. In a similar vein, if you know your friends are all anime fans, then mentioning there's a game called Break where you get to explore a world heavily based on JRPGs or an anime would be an easy way to pull them in. If sadly you don't have anyone that you know that you think will be willing or interested in playing, don't give up hope just yet, as there are still some avenues to explore. One of the most important and hallowed halls in all of gaming history, that being your friendly local game shop, or FLGS for short. Depending on where you live, you may be fortunate enough to have one of these wonderful nexuses of nerdom nearby. I highly recommend popping around and seeing if they have any ongoing games via organized play events, which are great ways of exploring new games as well as to make connections. Some stores may also have private games, though I will put a big old asterisk and caveat here and ask that y'all don't try to pressure or finagle your way into other people's games without invitation. I've found that plenty of groups don't mind onlookers, but most folks don't take too kindly to people trying to push their way in. That said, converse with them and they may have leads to groups looking for players or game masters. Heck, if you're nice enough, they may actually invite you in anyways. While you're there, you may also want to see if they have a community board or allow for looking for group or looking for player sign. If you're going to go for a sign method, my personal recommendation is to avoid too much text or extra images that might overwhelm the image. Stick to the logo of the system you're hoping to use in a large text font saying looking for group or players, whichever it is you're doing. If you are running a game and need players, put the type of game you're hoping to run, such as heroic fantasy or gritty survival, as well as if you have any specifics that you're trying to do, such as day of the week or time. For those that are looking for a group to join as a player, try to hype yourself up a bit, mentioning how much experience you have and such. Don't get too deep into the details, as it's better to hold back than to overshare in this case, but be honest either way. Don't oversell yourselves, guys. At the end of it, give a method of contacting you, preferably a throwaway email of some kind or something you're not attached to, as you don't want somebody to give away your primary phone number or email. Maybe even use a Discord or something like that. Some folks do still troll after all, and I don't want you guys having to deal with that. I will also mention that if you do not have a friendly local game shop, that a local library is also a decent alternative, as many libraries these days have been adding TTRPGs to their community events as well as having public community boards. If those options are a bust, it may be worthwhile, though depending on your age group, not quite accessible, to see if there are any local colleges or school groups that want to play. Though obviously this is an option that is only really available to those in that certain age demographic. Please be aware of the optics, guys. I don't want you to get in trouble. If all else fails, there is one more option for in-person play, though it will begin to transfer into the digital space. Checking places like Facebook, Meetup, and similar options that have existing groups looking for local hangs can be quite a Hail Mary, but offer a sizable pool. Discord and Telegram groups also exist that will require y'all to have a look into to see if it's in your specific area, and you'll then have to do some digging, but it's an option. That said, if you're looking forward to, or are forced to due to location, online games, then there are some amazing options. To pull it back to the beginning, there is of course asking your online friends off the bat, as obviously if you can do that, there's already a foundation of trust that is key to many games and success. There are of course a myriad of sites that are designed for the sole purpose of matching up with those looking to play games as well, either free games or paid games. Some of the most notable ones are Start Playing and RPG Match, though this is not an advertisement for them. I have not used them, but they are an option. Most of these allow you to specify the game system you're looking to play, and allow you to set specifics to make finding a good fit a little bit easier. If instead you're hoping to meet some new folks and expand your horizons, then of course the next best option is online forums. Some good options include Reddit, which has some expansive looking for group subreddits, some of which are dedicated to specific systems, which are a big help. Or the various virtual tabletops like Roll20, Foundry, and Owlbear Rodeo, either via their own message boards or their game discords, though be sure to follow all the instructions and rules for those posting there, because I don't want you guys getting in trouble. There are of course public Discord groups that are also solely dedicated to finding groups, many of whom are for specific game systems, which makes it a hell of a lot easier to get into things that you want to play right off the bat. After all this searching and eventually finding or starting a game, I'm sure you're going to be hella excited. But what do you do once you think you've found a prospective group or player? Well, the next step is making sure that you will all mesh and that everyone's on the same page. I know that your immediate reaction is going to be wanting to just jump into a grand epic of a game, but take it from my own experience, I would suggest these steps. Of course, the first step for your group outside of introductions is to make sure you're all interested in playing the same game system, though most methods of finding a group I mentioned will have you having all advertising or looking for a specific game system. If that wasn't the case, hopefully y'all can agree on one of the many amazing gaming systems out there. I'll always be out here advocating and touting how fantastic Pokemon Tabletop United is, which of course will be up in the right-hand corner for y'all to click on. It is my favorite game, and I love it so much. Just, oh my god, it's so good. That said, the next step is arranging a session 0. This is where you'll be able to handle all the nitty-gritty of a game. If you're doing this in person, I'd recommend a neutral location, though if you're comfortable going where y'all are intending to play, it's a good start. I personally have a checklist of sorts that I like to go over. As a GM, the one I have has several sections, which goes as follows. Starting with the campaign world, where I go over things like theme, tone, and any relevant info that may be important to the players making PCs, such as biomes, likely enemies, and if there happens to be less magic, more tech, anything like that. Followed by that will be scheduling, where you discuss availability for how long you'd like to play, how long you want sessions to last, where you'll be playing if you haven't already decided that, and how you'd like to handle game or player cancellations. As an aside, I highly recommend, even if you can't play what you intended to for whatever reason, it's a good idea to still do something and keep the habit of meeting up going. Far too many games fizzle out because the habit breaks. But back to the list. Next is my table expectations, better known as the social contract. This, of course, is gonna vary by your own needs, but I try to espouse my availability for everyone that needs help or concerns, bring up any lines or limits I have as a GM, and give out some handouts for folks to mention if there's anything they don't want brought up so it's handled privately. A lot of folks don't really want to talk about what they don't like publicly because it makes them feel like they're the guy ruining everybody's fun. I'll also bring up things like my feelings on PvP and a few of my other table quirks. This is also where I tend to bring up if I have any dietary restrictions or if anybody has a preference for not having alcohol around. This really only applies to in-person games, but for those doing it, it's a good idea just to cover it just in case. You don't want anybody being left out, and it's good to avoid any dangers ahead of time. This is also where you might handle talking about anybody that might enjoy a cigarette or anything of the like. Some tables just don't like that, and it's good to handle. The last three categories are going to heavily vary by the type of game you're playing, but Those categories would be any house rules you have for a particular system, as I find it's best to know ahead of time so you're not caught unaware. Then how you'd like to handle character creation, including any restrictions or recommendations you might have, and finishing up is just my general gentleman agreement section. This is where I tend to basically just ask politely that folks not use any known exploits or cheese the game, so that we can all have fun. I enjoy playing, but I can admit that as a GM, sometimes the fun for me is a little bit ruined when somebody just tries to, one shot kill everything. In my own notes, I have a little blurb about opening it up to the group about any additional concerns or topics, but I'm gonna assume y'all already have a clear thing going with dialogue. If y'all are interested in seeing my list in its entirety, let me know and I'll post it in the comments down below. I'm assuming I'm gonna have pictures of it up on screen for y'all, but I know that it's a little bit easier just to read it in one chunk. I believe it's still set up for the Dragon game, but it's easily adaptable to all systems that are not solo play. With that though, I think we've covered the main things I wanted to bring up. When it comes to new games, it can be hard for folks to find people in the first place, and even then, it's sometimes a struggle to cover all your bases with the social contract. Hopefully these ideas will be helpful to you, and I'd love it if you all could share down in the comments below your own tips or suggestions that you think might have been missed by me when it comes to finding or starting a game group. I always value y'all's input. Now, I had mentioned in a prior video that I had uploaded that I had a surprise for y'all in this one, and it seems appropriate that in a discussion of new beginnings that I introduce you to someone new in my life and someone new to the channel. This video was supposed to go up last month to go along with the whole New Year idea, but as we had a little guy join us, I've been very preoccupied. I'd like to introduce all of y'all to Peritas, my new little buddy. He is a rescue from a local group that has just turned 5 months old. We've had him for a little while now, and he's settling in quite well with the house. He has been such a big help with recovering from the loss of Pluto. I've been sharing some vids and pics of him over on Blue Sky, so if y'all haven't followed me over there, it's a good place to check it out. He was found wandering the street with 2 other dogs, a little beat up, and he's still a little fearful of cars and women, which is interesting, but we're doing our best with our trainer to help him. He's gained almost 10 pounds since we got him. He's finished losing all of his baby teeth, and he's just a precious little bean. But I hopefully will be having him show up in videos for you guys to check out. And in that case, if you can, a like, share, or especially a subscribe really helps as I work on getting more of these videos out. I've been working my way to 500 subscribers, and each new subscriber brings a smile to my face. We are super close as of the release of this video. I think I only need like 10 more people. If you enjoy answering TTRPG prompts or questions, please join me on the aforementioned Blue Sky, where I post daily, which is in the description down below and linked on the main channel page. Who knows, your responses may be part of a future video. If you have any suggestions for future topics, I'm always interested in what folks would like to hear about, and you can send them to me either by email or by joining the channel Discord, where you can chat with me and fellow cool people. I've been sharing a lot of Pokemon memes lately, and I think they're pretty funny. But that said, thanks again, y'all, and I hope that these ideas were useful to you and help you tell better tales. Talk to you later. Bye.